we're back. Today we're going to be moving on from our number systems review and talking about our equations and expressions unit. So our main focus for today is going to be solving equations. All right, let's get started. Okay, so on your printout you should have a what you need to remember section, and basically everything in that section is covered right here. So one of the main things we need to remember is that with solving equations, we're moving backwards. So instead of following our PEMDAS rules, we're going to change that to SADMEEP. So we're going to start with subtraction and addition, and then we're going to do division and multiplication. Then you would undo your exponents, but we won't have any in the 7th grade. And then finally your parentheses would go last. You also need to remember that your opposites are how you're going to undo the things happening to your variable. So with addition, we undo addition with subtraction, and with subtraction, we undo it with addition. For multiplication, we use division, and for division, we use multiplication. One of the key things we need to remember with solving equations is if we do it to one side of our equal sign, we have to do it to the other side. This is called balancing equations, and without it, you're not going to get it. On your guided notes, you should have a fully worked example for you. You can go ahead and look at that now. As for here, I'm going to start with our first let's practice example. We have negative 6x equals 18. As we can see, there's only one thing we need to get away from our x, so this is just a one-step equation. I'm going to go ahead and draw my graphic organizer as we've practiced in class. And since I know it's a one-step equation, I know after one step I will end with my x equaling something. Now most of y'all want to look at this and add 6 to both sides, but we need to pay attention to what's happening to our variable. If you look in the middle here, our variable is actually being multiplied by negative 6. So to undo our multiplication, we use division. And on both sides, we are going to divide by negative 6. Here, the two negatives and the 6's would cancel and drop down with just your x. And then you do 18 divided by negative 6. Different signs, so I have a negative. 18 divided by 6 gives us 3. So for our first example, x equals negative 3. All right, for our second example, again, we only have one number we're trying to get away from our variable, so we know it's a one-step equation. Again, I'm going to go ahead and set up my little organizer and drop down my x equals, so I know this is when my problem is done. All right, looking here, we have 5 plus x equals 12. We are trying to undo this addition, so to undo addition, we have to subtract. But we don't want to subtract our x because let's act like our x is stuck on this side of the equal sign. So instead of subtracting x, we will subtract 5 from both sides. These two cancel, and 12 minus 5 equals 7. For our third example, we have two numbers that we need to get away from our variable to figure out what x equals. That means this problem is a two-step equation. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my organizer. I'll know at the end I'm going to end up with x equals something. All right, as we said before, we don't follow PEMDAS anymore. Now we do SADMEEP. So we will undo our subtraction or addition first. So looking at this problem, first we're going to have to undo the plus 5. To undo plus 5, we are going to subtract 5 from this side, and we have to balance it, and also subtract it from this side over here. These two will cancel and equal 0, and then a 3x would drop down into this box, and then 17 minus 5 gives us 12. Now we can move on from here. We have 3x equals 12. So to undo the multiplication that's happening in here, we will divide both sides by 3. Those cancel, the x drops down, and then 12 divided by 3 is 4. So my final answer is x equals 4. Okay, on to question number 4. Let me just say, y'all are gonna have to stay tuned for the bloopers after this because I am not on it today. All right, anyway, if we look at problem number 4, we again have two numbers we have to get away from our x. So this is a two-step equation. I know I'm going to end up with x equals something. Following our SADME rules, we are going to undo our addition or subtraction first. As we can see here, we have x over 2, which is really just x divided by 2, minus 8 equals 2. So we're going to undo our subtraction with the inverse operation of adding 8 to both sides. Oop, okay? This would cancel. Drop down in my box is going to be x over 2, and then 2 plus 8 gives me 10. Now I can undo my division here with multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Those will cancel, and then I have 10 times 2. 10 times 2 is 20. So my answer for this one is x equals 20. All right, for number 5, we again have two numbers that need to get away from our x so we can figure out what it is. So I know this is going to be a two-step equation. I'm going to go ahead and draw my boxes. All right, the only difference here is our x plus 3 are both stuck on top of our denominator, which means there's actually an invisible set of parentheses surrounding these two terms. And because these two are in the parentheses, that means we're going to undo our addition last this time. I know that's a little crazy, and it's only because they're both on top of the same denominator. So the first thing we're going to do is undo our division, because fractions are really just division. Okay? So we will multiply by 2. No, I don't like that there. On both sides. These will cancel, and my x plus 3 is going to drop down. And then my 7 times 2 is going to give me 14. Now I can undo my addition with subtraction. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. These two would cancel out and make a 0. My x will drop down. And then I have 14 minus 3, which gives me 11. So for number 5, x equals
Number
11.
6, last one.
We have negative 3 plus x equals 10. So here we have just a one-step equation before we get our answer. Okay, we have negative 3 plus x. So technically, because we're adding, we should subtract. But when we subtract a negative, remember, double negatives make a positive. So we can actually just add the opposite to both sides. And the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. Negative 3 and positive 3 are going to cancel out. My x will drop down to my box, and then I just have 10 plus 3, which equals 13. So my final answer is x equals 13.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please know that I miss you guys so much, and I can't wait to see y'all's faces. Stay tuned for some bloopers, because tonight it was rough. All right, have a good day. Bye.
Starting over. Hey guys, we're back. Hey guys. We're going to be talking about expressions and equations, because this was the starting it over. Literally can't. Okay. Hey guys, we're back. Today we're going to be talking about. So on this side of the board, hey guys, we're back. Happy Tuesday.
What if they're not watching it on a Tuesday?